Yeah, joy, joy, joy.
Very good morning and welcome to all. So today is the 6th day session of Faculty Development Program on Research Methodology Tools and Techniques, organized by Department of History, MV Muthaiya Government Arts College for Women, Dindigul. Now I request Dr. Jaikumari Nanadipa Madam to introduce today's resource person.
Okay, shall I start, sir?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Good morning to all. Today I am honored to have the privilege to introduce our guest speaker. He is a man who won 3 gold medals in UG at GRI Gandhigram University and a second rank holder in BLIC and MLIC. 25 scout camps in South India were organized by him. Served KVS as the librarian in Kerala, Karnataka, Tamil Nadu from 1997 to 2014. He worked as a school library for 16 years and as a college library for a period of 7 years. 10 academic blocks including one library block which has over 40 lakhs visitors were established by him. He published 3 books in library and info science and 69 articles were also published by him in referred national and international journals. He has won 7 Best Paper Awards in various LIS conferences. He contributed 57 books chapters in edited books. He prepared course materials for Sri Lankan Open University, subject library and information science. He completed a minor research project of Tamil Nadu State Council for Higher Education, Chennai in 2018. He delivered 105 special lectures, invited talks at different venues for different set of audiences. He organized 3 state level seminars, 1 national webinar and 1 international seminar. He was also a course coordinator of a 3 days online course on statistical analysis using SPSS and scientometric analysis using open source softwares conducted by the Maya Research Group on May 2020 and July 2020 respectively. He delivered 10 video talks and did a radio show on National Library Day in the year 2007. He was known to be a review member of 2 LIS journals and editorial board member of Multidisciplinary Journal, associate editor of 2 edited books and an associate editor of conference volumes. KVS General Incentive Award to him in 2002. He cleared JRF 2 times, UGC 6 times, SET 1 time. He has a member of SALIS, ILA, KLA, ALA and IASLIC and also member of Board of Studies of 2 colleges. His areas of interest include blocks, institutional repositories and metric studies, user studies and open source softwares. He is currently working as a librarian in MV Muthaiya Government Arts College for Women, Dindigul. It is a great pleasure to welcome such a noted personality as our resource person. So, on the behalf of one and all present here, let me please extend a warm welcome to Dr. Ramasamy sir. Thank you.
Sir, na screenshot kudukova?
Yes, sir.
Sir, screen clear, sir?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You can continue, sir.
Slide move ஆகுதுங்களா?
Move ஆகுதுங்க, sir. Move ஆகுதுங்க.
Okay. My voice is clear?
Clear, sir.
Okay. the most respected, the convener of the program, the organizing secretary, coordinator, and the all inclusive team which is behind the organization of this 1 week FDP on research methodology, and the beloved participants from different parts of the country and even from abroad. A very, very pleasant and a joyful morning to each and every one of you. It gives me immense pleasure to be a part of this program today. And I would like to talk about free and open access e-resources, a treasured box for academic researchers. On the outset, let me take this opportunity to thank the entire team of Department of History, M.V. Muthaiya Government Arts College for Women, Dindigul, for having given me this wonderful opportunity of meeting you all online. And dear friends, my association with history is a century old, you can say, because even when I was doing my 11th and 12th, though I did a commerce group, I had a paper on history. So 2 years I was reading history as a special subject. And even after my graduation, post-graduation, you know, without history is very important to study any subject. If you want to study the history, growth, evolution, development of any subject, without history it is impossible. So history is a kind of a master subject which can be used to study all other subjects of the world. So I'm happy to be a part of this particular program, which is exclusively designed for the academicians and the researchers of history discipline. Thank you so much. And dear friends, we have been transforming ourselves from the old age to modern age to the more so-called digital age, the E-era, where we always talk about electronic things, whether it is the e-learning, e-payment, e-commerce, e-marketing. So whatever it may be, we have a kind of inclination towards using this E everywhere. And thanks to this Google era community, we the youngsters, both youngsters, physically and mentally, we have a device in our hand, a smart device, that will help you to bring all kinds of information on a mouse click away. So, though on the one side, we are dependent on printed resources, printed books, printed journals, on the other side, we started heavily using the so-called information available on a mouse click away. As we have been transforming ourselves, so maybe from number dial-based phone to the latest smartphone, even in terms of resources, we have been improving a lot. So we have been moved from traditionally available printed resources to the so-called e-resources. And many of us started exploring and using these e-resources either for our classroom interactions. So you need to prepare something for your class. Our students need these kinds of electronic resources in their classroom preparation, in their exam preparation, in submitting their assignments. As a faculty members, we need all these electronic resources either to enrich ourselves or to continue our research work. Maybe you want to publish a journal article or a book chapter or a book or a conference paper, whatever it may be, or you are guiding a PhD student in this project, or you have an MPhil scholar, or you have a PhD scholar. So you need to have some kind of electronic resources that will help you to carry out your academic and research activities in a much more better and quicker way. A question comes here, as a researcher, why do I need these kinds of electronic resources? Basically, I should tell you, these days, even before you start doing a research work, we have to identify the research problem. 1 minute. Sir?
Sir?
Sir, video put on bandwidth issue or also video padam sir. Question answer potukalam sir. Ama. Yes. Even to identify research problem, to conduct scan of literature available in the field of interest. So you need to collect related review of literature, what kinds of researchers were conducted previously, what were the objectives, what are the sources they used, what the methodology they adopted, what are their findings. So that kind of literature review will help you to understand what is the gap. To fill that particular gap, your research is going to contribute in the chosen field of research world. And apart from that, whenever you write a paper or even your thesis, you need to collect background information about the topic on which you are doing a research. You have to talk about the theory or a concept or historical growth, how it was born, how it was grown, who nurtured it. So these kinds of background information you need. So for all these things, either you need so-called print resources, or you have to depend on, nowadays a lot of e-resources are available. The question comes here, what are the e-resources? So two things are there. The resources are available in a digital form. They are not in the print form. They are available in digital form. And to read all these digital resources, you need some electronic devices like computer, laptop, smartphone. You need some devices to access these resources. So they're all electronic resources. Maybe it can be a form of an e-journal or an e-book, e-conference proceeding, e-patent, e-standards, whatever it may be. And these electronic resources, you can broadly divide them into two groups. One is online resources and another is offline resources. See, online resources are those resources which are available online in www. You have a system, maybe a smartphone, something like that. You have net connection. You can always go and access all these online resources. At the same time, there are some e-resources which are available in offline mode. Maybe you have some electronic resources in your computer, in your floppy, in your CD, in your pen drive, in your hard disk. So there are offline electronic resources. But in my presentation, I would like to confine myself only to the online electronic resources. Plenty are available. The question comes, sir, where can I get all these resources from? So basically there are three different ways. One is there are free and open access resources. The resources which are available free to anybody can go and download and use it. And secondly, we have commercially available subscribed resources, maybe something like Enlist service or Web of Science or Scopus. So there are a lot of databases are there. So you have to pay money, you have to subscribe, then you will be getting an opportunity to make use of all those resources. So the second way. And thirdly, recently we are getting a lot of documents which are branded as OER, Open Educational Resources. So these resources are exclusively developed for your teaching, learning, and research activities. These OER materials can be used by you, can be reused, can be distributed, can be redistributed, can be repurposed, can be mixed and then used. See, all these combinations are permitted for OER materials. Fine. But today's session, we are not going to talk about the commercially available subscribed resources. Rather, we would concentrate on the free and open access resources and open education resources. So, dear friend, this is not a technical session. This is only a description of various online resources that are available on the www that can be accessed by you all. Fine. So I would like to categorize all these online resources into few categories. There are search engines, there are aggregators, there are directories of open access journals, there are open access electronic theses and dissertations, there are open access free books, there are directories of open access institutional repositories, there are open data repositories, there are free videos, video lectures, study materials, and at the end, we have online resources to manage all these references. Fine. So in these broad categories, I would be listing out the resources. So let's talk about search engine. You know, search engine is an application software that helps you to go and search the world and bring the required information. See, you have to surrender to Google. G for God, G for Google. So whatever thing you like to have in your mind, whenever you want to search for something, the first place you land is Google. Fine, Google you can try, absolutely no problem. For example, I tried Google, I typed Indian history. You'll be amazed to see I got around 834 crores of documents. So do you think that it will be possible for anybody to go and browse all these crores of documents in Indian history? And do you think that all these resources will be useful to you, will be relevant to you, or will be authentic to you? It's a question mark. So you need to use some kind of mechanisms that will help you to filter, that will help you to refine your search results. For example, I just put Indian history in double quotes. You see the result now? It has drastically come down to just 90 lakhs records from some 80 crores of documents. Fine. Now again, I used another filter. After Indian history, I just type file type :PDF. Now what happens? So only PDF records will be displayed. See the results now? The results have come down quite a lot. Fine. Then comes, apart from this, if you see the Google search engine, you can see a settings button. Click it. You'll get advanced search option. You click that. You can restrict your search with the help of all these filters. You can search for the contents only in English language. You can search for contents only from India. You can search for contents, only those contents which were published in 1 year period. You can search for only those contents which have your search key in the title. You can search for only PDF documents. You can search for only those documents which are free to use. So kindly make use of all these kinds of filters and advanced searches while you are using Google, so that you would be able to exactly retrieve what you need for your academic and research activities. Fine. Then comes Google Scholar. So Google Scholar is a better search engine because it searches only academic papers, only research papers, not all. For example, I just tried for Swadeshi movement. I got around 12,600 results. The beauty is that here, just below each and every result, they will tell you how many people have cited this article. So this is a particular book which was cited by 629 people. Here is an article, it was cited by 16 people. Here is an article cited by 78 people. So based on this, you can find out how influential, how impactful that particular article is. If you want, even you can restrict your research to specific years. For example, I just given results only from 2016. So I got just 2,460 results. And apart from that, just below every result, you can see a double quote. If you click the double quote, Google Scholar will tell you how you can write the reference for this particular research paper in MLA style, APA style, Chicago style, Harvard style, Vancouver style. Even that is also available in Google Scholar. Then comes academic.microsoft.com is a semantic verse search engine for Microsoft. They provide access to around 23 crores of documents from around 48,000 journals. For example, I just went to Microsoft. You can search by topic, author, journal. Okay, I just tried for a specific topic and I would get around 120 results. And all these results can be filtered. See, I got 120 results on Adolf Hitler. You can refine, you can filter these results by choosing the filters available in the left part of the screen, maybe based on time, based on topic, or based on publication type, based on authors, based on the journals. So using all these ways, you can filter and refine the results. Fine. And it is a semantic search engine. That means if you are searching for a particular keyword, the search engine tries to understand exactly what the word is, then accordingly it will produce the results. So please try Microsoft.academic.search engine. Then comes Base search engine. This is a search engine which was developed by a university, and they provide access to lakhs and crores of documents, and all these resources are taken from around 8,123 institutions. So whatever this particular search engine searches, they are all from the academic and research works, papers published from this 8,000 academic and research institutions. So they are very authentic. They are more approved sources. You can try. Okay. I just tried for unification of Germany. That's a my keyword. I could get around 417 results. You can refine your search by author, subject, year, language, document type. You can refine your search. Okay. And apart from that, here there are some options. Detailed view. You can see the entire article. Email this. You can email this to a friend. Add to favorites. If you create an account, you can add all your favorite items as a folder. Check in Google Scholar. So this tells you whether this particular article is available in Google Scholar or not. If it is available, it will take you directly to Google Scholar. Then export record. The citation particulars of this particular document can be exported. See, this is a detailed view. This is a add to favorite logging. And this, it has brought you to Google Scholar. Then this is a screen which shows how you can export the record. Fine. Then comes gettheresearch.org. It's another beautiful search engine where you can go and search only for peer-reviewed research papers. Nothing less, only peer-reviewed research papers. Okay. Two options are available. Either you can try for all the items or you can try only for open access items. Okay. For example, I tried for Indian Constitution. I clicked open access only. So that will bring your results that are only open access material, full text materials you can download. Fine. And this is another beautiful search engine. A search engine which is exclusively meant for searching free journals available in various subjects. Okay. All the subjects are listed in alphabetical order, starting from A, acoustics, history, and all those things. You just give a click on a subject on which you want to see the freely available journals. I just clicked history. You can see they list around 61 journals. All the 61 journals are free and open access journals on history. Okay, just click it. You'll be directly taken to the particular journal website. Fine. This is another beautiful search engine called JURN. You can search for millions of free academic articles, chapters, and theses from this particular search engine. And they provide you a directory of 3,000 arts and humanities journals. I just click this particular one. You can see when you go for history, history is divided into so many categories. History general, history archaeology, history 18th century, history 19th century. For example, I want to know what are the free journals available on history archaeology. Just give a click and they will tell you all kinds of journals of all the languages, all the countries will be listed. You can just have a look at the list of journals. If you want, you can go to a particular journal website and you can download. Fine. And this is another beautiful search engine, Wolfram Alpha computational search engine. Basically, it is being used by the people, those who belong to physics, chemistry, mathematics, and many such fields. I was wondering how this particular search engine will be useful to historians, those who are doing research in history. But I was really shocked when I clicked the option history. You can see a lot of things that can be done in this one search engine. I'll tell you a few examples. See here, historical numbers. If you type Roman number, it will convert into standard number. Okay. If you want to convert a decimal to Mayan number, those days Mayan numbers you can convert. Historical period. You want to know about Bronze Age, you click it, all the particulars about the Bronze Age will appear. If you want to compare two historical periods, Elizabethan period, Jacobean period, you type both the periods, this website will give a comparison of these two periods. Not only that, you can convert between today's currency value of USA and the currency value of USA in 1910, 1920. That kind of comparisons can be done. Not only that, if you know the history of a particular family history, you can find out fathers, mothers, sisters, son, grandmothers, and a family tree, family relationship can be prepared, maybe for Ashoka Kingdom, maybe for British Empire, maybe for Babur Kingdom. So that kind of historical family trees can be prepared. See, not only that, you can learn about historical events, all about the historical event. or what happened between one historical event and another historical event, the entire timeline. You can see here historical events. Or you can know about the kingdoms, any two important historical countries you can compare. You can study about the world war, any kind of military conflict, Boer War or Civil War, any war, you can come and get information. Not only that, either past or present leaders of the world. See, President of Argentina, you can see the current leader. So you want to know about the 16th President of USA. See, all these things are possible in this single search engine called Wolfram Alpha Computational Search Engine. Fine. See, I just typed for Bronze Age. All particulars about Bronze Age appears. I want to know more about Indus River Valley Civilization. I click it and they give you all the information about full name, dates, timeline, location, everything about Indus River Valley Civilization will be available. Very beautiful site, kindly make use of it. Okay. Then let us talk about aggregators. See, aggregators are those people, those who around the entire world, they find out the freely available open access resources and they make it available in a single website. So that is the work of aggregators. There are lots of aggregators. One of my first favorites is pdfdrive.com. They give you access to around 8 crores documents. I just went and typed the Sipai Mutiny. I got around 83 results. You click anyone and click download, the entire book will be downloaded. It's a very good site, you can try. Then comes Paperity. And this is the world's first multidisciplinary aggregator of open access journals and papers. If you come to this particular single website, you will be able to access 14,000 plus journals and 60 lakhs papers can be accessed, can be searched. For example, I just typed Indian history in double quotes. So I got around 300 to 400 results. The results can be filtered with the help of the refining options available in the left side of the screen, maybe on the base of year or on the base of journal, on the base of language, based on country, based on publisher. All those criteria can be used to restrict your research work. Then comes next beautiful platform called Core. Here you can access 19.4 crores of open access research papers. Okay, and these papers are taken from around 7,100 academic and research institutions. Just come and try. I just tried for Second World War. I got around 1,86,105 articles on Second World War. Okay, you just click on get PDF. You can get the full text of PDF. You click on similar articles, then all the related articles which are also dealing with the Second World War will be listed. If you are interested, even you can go on to search and download those articles also. Fine. Then comes Internet Archive. It is the people who search for more than billions of web pages. And if you are interested in very old documents, classical literature, 1850s, 1900s, 1920s, 1930s, please come to Internet Archive. Here many options are there. You click on books and then click on all books. For example, we can access around 44 lakhs of books here, but all the books are not available. Around 3 lakhs books are available. Fine. For example, I just tried for Ashoka. I typed Ashoka here. I got around 91 documents on Ashoka. If you see these books were literally published long back in 1910, 1920, 1930, 1850, 1870. Very, very old books can get here. See, something like Edicts of Ashoka, like Ashoka Charitra. So all those very, very old books you can download from here. I just tried for Indian arts. Out of 555 books, 324 books were available. You can go on to see all these books. A very good site for very traditional literature on history. Then comes preprints.org. See, as a researcher, before we publish our paper, before our papers are peer-reviewed, the draft version, what you prepared for a particular research work is called as a preprints. If you come to this particular site, millions and millions of preprints on many subjects, including social sciences and humanities, can be searched. Then comes open access button. I would like to tell 2 important things about this particular aggregator. See, if you know the URL or digital object identifier or ID of a particular research paper, you type here. If that is available, They will tell you, yes, it is available. You click this link, you'll be able to go and get the resource. Fine. If it is not available, what to do? That is the beauty of open access button. If the resource what you searched for is not available, instead of you, they will write a letter to the institution, to the author. They will try to get the paper from them, and then they will give that particular paper to you. So that beautiful work they are doing here. Fine. Then comes very popular SSRN, Social Science Research Network, a beautiful site where they provide abstracts to 9 lakhs papers and full text papers 7 lakhs available. But after this, history has got only a limited number of papers, maybe on humanities, maybe on architecture, maybe on linguistics, music, a very limited collection, but still you can make use of this particular resource. Then comes Open Access Library, a tool wherein you can go and search around 43 lakhs of papers. All those are academic papers. Fine. For example, I tried for ancient Indian civilization. I got around 41,602 matches. All are full text. You can go and download absolutely free. Fine. This is one article. You can full text download. You can cite this paper. Okay. You can do all those things. Apart from this, in Open Access Library here, you can find out the list of journals arranged in the alphabetical order. List of publishers, those who are publishing open access journals. You can list over, see here. And apart from that, they give you ranking of journals. So they rank the highly productive journals in each subject, and they list all those journals. I just searched for the top journals in history. You can see the top journals in history as decided by this particular website. Then comes Science Open. They give you access to lakhs and lakhs of documents. 63 million documents can be searched here from 25,000 journals. You can go and search for your topics on any of the history related concepts. Once you get the results can be refined by content, by collection, by publisher, by journal, by discipline, by keyword, all these things. And here there's another website, Digital Library of the Commons Repository. Just click here. You'll be able to access around 40,000 to 50,000 papers, but they are good papers, quality papers. You can try. Then comes the Hindawi. They got only one journal which can be used by the people of history, one education research. Otherwise, they don't publish any open access materials for history community. Then comes ERIC database, a very popular one, Educational Resources Information Consortium of USA. They provide millions of papers on education. For example, I just tried for Nelson Mandela. I got around 56 results. These results can be refined, filtered by using left side filter options, publication date, descriptor, author, publication type, education level, location. So using all these things, you'll be able to refine your research work. So then comes Semantic Scholar, a very popular search engine where more than 18 lakhs of papers can be searched. Most of the contents are free. Around 25% of the contents are paid ones. So all fields are available. Let me click history. In history, I searched for Boer War. I could get around 2,000 documents. Okay. But I want to look for only those articles which full text is available. So what you can do is that you can just click on hash PDF option and you will get only those materials for which PDF content is full text is available. You can go and get it. You can click this. You will automatically get the APA style, MLS style of this particular research work. You can save it. All those things can be done. Okay, these filters can be used. Then comes account based, maybe as a history researcher, academicians. If you are interested to get something on business studies or economics, something like that, history of those things, you may make account based. So I just skip it. Then let me go to journals. So there are thousands and thousands of free journals are available on many different platforms. For example, we have a site called road.issn.org, a site that lists you all the open access scholarly resources, including all subjects, social sciences, economics, politics, and we have arts and humanities. We have all subjects. And They provide you list of free access journals. 21,000 journals are there, of which around 2,000 journals are Indian journals. They are free. Then comes Open Science Directory. This is another beautiful directory of freely available journals and research papers. For example, here, History General and European History, around 807 items are there. And American History, around 254 items are there. See, for example, you can search by title, you can search by subject. For example, I just click the History General and History of Europe. All subject-wise classification of articles will appear. You can go and click History of Africa, History of Asia, History of Europe. Just click and get the materials. Okay. I click the History of America. Here also you can get the British America, Latin America, Spanish America, United States, all those information you can click and get it. Fine. Okay. And recently the trend is that, see, many private publishers, commercial publishers are publishing a lot of papers. And what they do is that nowadays, for example, if I am a publisher, if I publish around 100 journals, maybe 5 to 10 journals I make it available in the open access. In the free mode I'm offering. So that way, you can see a couple of commercial publishers, they are providing access to a part of their publications in the open access mode. Okay. This is a list of journals in history from EBSCO Open Access Collection. And this is from Wiley Open Access, you can try. And this is from Elsevier Open Access Journals. You can go and search for journals, books. And this from IndianJournals.com. See, they have got more than 2,500 journals, of which around 39 journals they give free. You can go and search for these 39 journals. If anything is there about history, also you can make use of it. Then comes the very popular Science Direct database. Please don't think that Science Direct gives only science related information. Even they provide social sciences and humanities information also. They provide you open access books. They provide you open access journals. You can go and try for history related subjects. Then comes Emerald site. Even Emerald site, they got their own open access platform and they provide you a lot of articles and journals in the open access mode. Fine. Let us come back to a very, very important directory called the DOJ, Directory of Open Access Journals. So this directory is just giving you a list of all the open access journals available throughout the world on very many subjects. Fine. Here you can access 14,800 journals and 48 lakhs articles. You can search, you can get the link from this particular directory. You can search for journals in history. You can search for articles in history. Here, they give you a long list of subjects. Okay, I just give a click on history. You can see here, two options are there. One is general history and the history of Europe. Around 20,000 records are available. Then history of America is there separately. It has around 4,834 records. Fine, you can try. And then there's a website called journalsforfree.com. They provide access to 1,72,000 free journals on many different subjects. And history and archaeology, they have around 700 journals. Language, mathematics, arts and architecture, philosophy, communication, environment, all the subjects, they give you free journals. Fine. I just went and typed history, looking for freely available history journals. I could get around 79 free journals on history. Fine. For example, there's one journal called E-Journal of Portuguese History. All the articles and issues can be downloaded free. Fine. Then comes Scilit.net. They provide access to 12.5 crores documents, of which 2.8 crores are free. You may go on to try for, I just tried for a concept digital library. And then even Sage Publications, they are providing a list of open access journals. And these are the journals freely available from Sage Publications. Even you can try your hands here also. Fine. Then comes the very popular two research networks called Academia and ResearchGate. These two are becoming a very, very popular and a gigantic collaborative work of researchers all around the world. Lakhs and lakhs of documents on many subjects are made available in both these platforms. Go to Academia, search for the material, and you can download. It's free of cost. You go to ResearchGate, join yourself as a member. You can go and upload your papers. You can go and search for the papers. you can download, you can form a research group. So many things can be done in these two kinds of research collaborative network platforms, academia.edu and the ResearchGate. Please try these two. Then comes institutional repositories. See, what is a repository? Very simple. For example, you are working in an institution called MEM College. See, what you do is that in MEM College, faculty members are there, guest lecturers are there, PG students are there, MPhil students are there, PhD scholars are there. So what you need to do is that you collect all the scholarly publications, all the activities of these many faculty members, research scholars, and college activities, college events, college publications. And when you convert all these into a digital form and you're making it available online free of cost for everybody to see, then you say it is an open access institutional repository. It is a storehouse of indigenously developed intellectual thought content of an organization. If you see the IR of an organization, you can understand what are the popular research areas they are publishing more and more papers. Which areas, who is very powerful. You can trace out all those things, IRs. We have two directories in the world today that list you all the open access institutional repositories. The institutions which are ready to make their contents available free of cost to the entire world. First directory is Open Door, directory of open access repositories. They provide access to more than 4,000 repositories. You can search by country, you can search by continent wise, you can search by repository type, you can search for subjects. For example, I wanted to know how many repositories are having contents on history and archaeology. I click search, I could get around 287 repositories, institutions are having history and archaeology related contents in their repository free of cost. You can go and search, you can download. Okay, I just tried for one Atlantic Canada Virtual Archives. Okay, you can just visit and you can download. Then comes RORE, Registry of Open Access Repositories, and they provide access to 4,900 repositories, of which around 120 are from India. Here also, I just went and tried for history, general and old world. On this particular topic, around 109 institutions are having content on history. Fine. For example, I will let you go a small example. This is the institutional repository of IIM Kozhikode. So all the departments, their publications, their conference papers, all those things. And this is from DSpace, from Gokhale Institute of Politics and Economics. It's a very beautiful IR. These are the collections, their dissertations, lecture series, photo gallery, video gallery, working papers. All these things can be downloaded. And one beauty with this particular IR is that they provide you all the census related documents. Starting from 1911 till date, all the census data can be downloaded from this particular IR. This is an IR. Then comes University of Mysore. It is their IR. You can go and search for the contents, subject wise, go to history and look for 86 documents which are available on history. You can download free of cost. Full text is available. Then the very, very important IR of Parliament of India Digital Library. If you come to this particular site, you can get access to full text portion of all the presidential addresses, budget speeches, parliamentary committee reports, resume of work done by Lok Sabha, text of debates, debates by titles and members, provisional parliament debates, Council of States debates, Indian Legislative Council debates. You can look for the books published by this particular Lok Sabha Secretariat on different many angles. So these are all the institutional repositories that freely provide access to contents of that particular institution. Fine. Then comes open access thesis and dissertations. Okay, there are a lot of free sites that give you thousands and lakhs of theses. You please come to OATD, open access thesis and dissertations. They provide access to 4 lakhs thesis. You will not believe 4 lakhs thesis. Okay, I just typed marketing. I could get around 600 thesis and marketing alone in English. Fine. And then comes ProQuest Open. Even ProQuest, they provide link to open access thesis and dissertations. For example, I just went and tried American Civil War. I could get around 392. I'm sorry, this is not 892. This is 392. Okay, sorry, 392 open access dissertations are available on the topic American Civil War. You can download, no problem. Okay, I just downloaded one particular thesis. Then comes NDLTD. This is Networked Digital Library of Theses and Dissertations. So what they did is that they went around the world and find out which institution in which country is giving an access to all the open access thesis. They found out the entire list, and the list is available here. For example, if you want to find out the thesis of Armenia, click this particular website. Australia, Bangladesh, Belgium, Canada, Europe, Finland, France, Germany. So country-wise listings are there. You can click and you'll be able to access the open access thesis and dissertations submitted to the universities of that particular country. Fine. For example, I tried one such thing, South African National ETD, Electronic Thesis and Dissertation Portal. They provide access to more than 150,000 theses. You can go and download free of cost. Then comes Ethos from United Kingdom. They give you the possibility of searching 4,75,000 theses, but full text is available only for 1.6 lakh theses. You can go and search. For example, I tried for World Wars. Okay, I just typed World Wars and I could get around 1,975 theses on World War. You can go and download free. Then comes a thing which Indians should be proud of, Shod Sindhu. It is a Indian reservoir of thesis and dissertations, thesis, PhD thesis, submitted to Indian universities. An initiative of Minister HRD. Here, around 428 universities have contributed 2.72 lakhs of full text thesis. Okay, all the universities are listed here. For example, I want to know what kind of history thesis, PhD thesis are done in a particular university. For example, Bharathidasan University. So I find out Bharathidasan University. I click this, and from Bharathidasan University, 5,858 theses are available. You click it. Department of History, 114 PhD theses are available. You click that. You get the list of all the 114 theses. Go through all the one thesis. Suppose for example, I want to get one particular thesis. Click it. You'll get the particulars. Come down. You'll get everything starting from title, preface, first chapter, second chapter, third chapter. Everything can be seen and downloaded. It's for it is from 114 from one university. This way you can go and search for all the universities and get access to the PhD works done in all over universities. Then comes ethesis.whiterose. Even here you can go and search for the subjects and you can download the full text of thesis. It is permitted. Then comes Mahatma Gandhi University, Kottayam, Kerala. Even they have around 36 PhD theses in history. Though you may not be able to download, you can go and see. Okay, you can see the entire thing. You click on maybe first chapter, second chapter, you want to read, click it. You will be able to read. Only thing is there is no provision for downloading the full text things, but you can see, you can read, no problem. Then comes is a very popular DOT. I think this is the largest archive of theses in the world. They have only 8.28 lakhs of open access theses drawn from 600 universities of 28 European countries. You can go and search. Give a keyword. I just tried for Japanese history. I got around thousands of documents. You can even filter also, and that is also permitted. Okay, we have 135 theses on Japan history. Fine, you can go and try. Fine. Next comes ebooks, the freely available ebooks. DOBE, Directory of Open Access Books. This single platform, they provide you access to around 10,100 academic books from 244 publishers. In some cases, they provide the entire book. In some cases, they give you only limited number of chapters. So both are there. You can get alphabetical list of all the books. You can browse subject-wise. I just clicked history and archaeology. I could see 200 books on archaeology, 442 books on history, and 8 books on archives. Some of them are books, some of them book chapters. You can go and download. Okay. subject wise, all the books are listed here. You can go and click on history. You can try for the books. And here by author. And here, this is a particular site, oad.simmons.edu there. See, they found out all the open access publishers. All the open access publishers are listed in the alphabetical order. For example, you just go to Cambridge Open and click this. All the textbooks, all the books which are published by Cambridge Open, which are available free of cost to everybody, will be seen. You can search and you can download. Fine. Then comes the traditional Gutenberg. So Gutenberg is a website which was started long before, and they get a lot of traditional and historical books. And those who are interested in classical literature in English, and even home decoration, knitting, such kind of things, you can refer to Gutenberg. They provide access to 59,000 free ebooks, including some audio books. Then comes HL Archives. They provide you wide variety of contents. They give you photos, videos, audios, maps, software, lectures, thesis, preprints, reports, then books, book sections, conference papers. So they provide you a lot of wide spectrum of resources. You may please try your hands on this too. Then comes OAPN. They provide a good number of open access books. Then Rare Book Room. This is a site where you can get only 400 books, but all the 400 books are the rarest book of the world. They find out which are the rarest books and they digitized all those 400 books. They are available here. Then comes the data sources. When you want some data, maybe historically or socially or economically, some kind of data, you may please refer to these sites. Indiastate.com, one of the most comprehensive e-resource socioeconomic data for the people. They provide you data on 32 different socioeconomic categories, starting from agriculture to petroleum to media to education to economy. You can go on to try your hands on different areas. Fine. And apart from that, this particular company, they give you two important websites. One is districtsofIndia.com. If you go to this particular website, they give you access to almost 6,000 plus districts of India. Fine. See, state-wise list is available. I just clicked Tamil Nadu. Okay, all the districts have appeared here. You can click on any one district. I just clicked Dindigul, and you can see all the information about Dindigul. See, the whole information about Dindigul is available. If you want district-wise information, you can come here. Then comes, there is another beautiful site for the same company, electionsindia.com. If you go to this particular website, you will be able to get the results of all the past election, whether it is a Lok Sabha election, or it is a state legislative assembly elections, or national level election, state-wise. So far, whatever elections are conducted, all the elections results can be checked and seen in this particular website. Beautiful website. Then comes ICSR Data Service, Indian Council of Social Science Research. They provide a qualitative data on all these areas like debt and investment, tourism, education, employment, household consumer expenditure, healthcare. If you want data on these areas, you can come to ICSSR Data Service. Then comes some study materials. We talk about study materials which are meant for both students and faculty members. For example, eGyan Ghosh, you know about IGNOU, Indira Gandhi National Open University, and IGNOU has got one of the finest materials ever prepared for college and university students and faculty members. So all the IGNOU materials are available in a digital form, free of cost, from egyangosh.ac.in. You can download. Then comes EPG Pathshala, a special initiative of Ministry of HRD through National Mission on Education through ICT. What they have done is that they have selected around 73 PG courses and they prepared high quality content for the 73 courses. Unfortunately, I'm sorry, there is no subject called history, but there is something called Indian culture. There's something called tourism. I just tried Indian culture. All the papers are available. I selected one paper called Tourism in India. This one paper has got around 35 units. You will be able to go and download any unit you like. Fine. This can be used. EPG Pathshala. Then comes a private university called Lovely Professional University. If you come to this university, They provide you all their distance education materials free. So if you click on MA History, first semester, first year, all the books, both in Hindi and Punjabi, even English, it's also available. You can go and download. Then comes Allahabad University, Karaikuri, Tamil Nadu. They provide access to all their correspondence course materials free of cost. You come to Allahabad University, you can choose a semester, all the subjects will be displayed, you can download, no problem. Then comes a very recently launched program of Ministry of HRD called Vidya Mitra, it means Front of Education. What they have done is that, see, whatever initiatives are taken by Government of India so far in terms of knowledge dissemination, all the information sources are collected, integrated, and made available in a single platform called Vidya Mitra. Fine. You can come here, you can search for UG level material, PG level material, fine. You can search for institutions also. You can search for subjects also. I just click social sciences, history is there. I just click history. I got around 684 records. This can be filtered again by filters available on the right side. You can refine your search by document type, by learners, by courses, by subjects. For example, you want the history related materials only from NCERT, only from IGNOU, only from CEC. That way you can refine your search. Then comes the very famous Tamil University, Tanjore. Even they provide all their study materials free of cost. For example, even MA History in Tamil, all the materials, each and every notes can be downloaded from this particular website. Then comes MS University. Even MS University, they provide all their course materials free of cost. You can go and download these materials. Okay, fine. Let me come back to open educational resources. As I told you, OER are those materials which are exclusively prepared for teaching, learning, and research activities. Fine. For example, the one thing which we all should be proud of is NDLI, National Digital Library of India. It gives access to 4.8 crores of resources. All are educational materials. Fine. You can go and search for school related materials, engineering, science, other disciplines, language, management, law. You can search. For example, I can go and search for content subject wise in NDLI. They give you 3-level subject classification. For example, first level, I selected history and geography. I got around 6,13,000 documents on history and geography. Fine. What is the second level? They give you list of items. I selected history of Europe in the second level. Fine. So how many are there? When I had narrowed my search to history of North America, 1,23,400 results are available. Fine. Let me go to my third level. The third level, I select Canada. Fine. So history and geography. In that, history of North America. In that, I want only the history of Canada related information. So I could get around 7,514 results. These results can be filtered again with the help of filters available in the left side, maybe by author, file type, language, learning resource type, source, content type. This way you can filter even this 7,500 records. Fine. You can try for NDLA resources. You can try for only open access resources. You can try for different authors. Okay. And these are different file types. Out of those 7,500 records, 7,000 are PDF, 200 HTML files, 7 are MP3 files, 500 something are in English, 7 audio books, 38 journals. So these are from these many institutions. Fine. So these kind of searchings can be done in NDLI. You can get plenty of resources on history for the classes 1 to PG. You can go and get. And this OER Commons, an internationally popular website for searching for OER, Open Educational Resources. You can go and try for different levels, primary, upper primary, graduate level, adult education, technical education. You can go and try. And you can try in all the subjects, arts and humanities, go and collect materials on history. Then comes OASIS. They provide you open educational resources on different subjects. So they are given alphabetically arranged all the subjects. If you want open educational resources on history. You click on history, you'll get all the materials. Then comes this particular website, CDX. They provide you hundreds of freely available textbooks. You can go and download from them. Then comes Open Textbook Library. So textbooks meant for UG classes. Around 700 textbooks are there. You can go and download. You can search history related things. You can get the materials. Then comes Hippocampus. This is a very beautiful site. They provide you around 7,000 free videos in 13 subject areas, in all the subjects, starting from arithmetic, biology, chemistry, economics, history and government, sociology. You get around 7,000 free videos. You select the subject, then you go for second level of subdivision. The video will appear. You can watch the video. Then comes videolectures.net. The beauty of this particular site is that all the great lectures given by great visionaries, historians, scientists, or discoverers, inventors, their speeches given at various places, conferences, or public meetings. So those video lectures are captured and those video lectures are made available in this particular site, videolectures.net. For example, architecture, around 400 videos are there, and maybe on health sciences, humanities, 700 videos are there. Military, 36 videos are there. You can go and see all these videos. All are video lectures given by great personalities. Fine. Then comes online newspaper archives. This particular section tells you about newspaper archives, and I know very well newspapers are very, very important parts of any historical research. Just for sample, I would like to tell you just one or two archives on newspaper. This is from Google News Archive. If you come to this particular website, news.google.com/newspaper, more than 10,000 newspapers are listed. If you select one particular newspaper, they tell you, for example, if you take this particular newspaper, the Arcadia Daily, from 1930 to 1936, all the papers can be accessed. Fine. If you take another paper, maybe the Arizona, 1877 to 1877. So this period is also available. For example, I selected a particular journal and they tell you from 1855 onwards, it is available. You can go and search for very old newspapers. And dear friend, this is one of the most widely used and popular newspaper archives of the entire world. It is freely available. You can go and search for 20 crores of newspaper items from 4,235 newspapers. Elefine.com, a beautiful website. For example, I just went and typed for World War II. I want to get some newspaper clippings on World War II. Fine. And you can see here, they give you a long list of around 4,300 results on World War II. And these 4,000 results can be refined, can be filtered. You can search for newspaper items from a particular country, from a particular decade, or from a particular source, or publication title, or a particular language. Using all these refining options, you will be able to limit your newspaper items. I just typed about one particular newspaper article which was published in 1948, a newspaper article. Okay. And if you want, even you can download this clipping also, no problem. Here is an option. Just click this button. An option comes here, download. Whether you want to save this newspaper clipping as a JPEG file or PDF file or text file, you can download. So this is a very beautiful online newspaper archives which you can make use of. Fine. Then when you talk about pictures, though many search engines default, they give you the permission to search for images also. For example, Google has got Google Images, Yahoo has got Yahoo Images, like that Bing has got Bing Images, every search engine has got its own image version. But here, there are two search engines which are exclusively meant for pictures. One is PicSearch, a very beautiful site. You can search for around 300 crores images. You can come and try here, PicSearch. And second one is Unsplash.com, over 1 billion of images. They are all freely usable images. There's no copyright issue. You can download all these billions of images from Unsplash and you can make use of it. Fine. Then this is one beautiful reverse image search engine. tineyE.com. For example, you have got one image, maybe a historical building or historical person, something like that. If you are having a picture, what you can do is that just click this arrow button. You can upload your image. The computer will tell you what are all the websites which have similar kind of images. So this kind of, see, normally you give a keyword, the search engine will give you a list of pictures. But here you give a picture, any historical picture, it will tell you what are the online resources which have similar kind of pictures. So reverse image search engine. So you can make use of these three engines for searching images. Fine. And we have come to the fake end of the presentation. So we go to all these open access resources. We download the articles, books, newspaper clippings, images, videos, all those things. You are making use of them in your research work or academic works. So what is very, very important is that once you have downloaded and made use of all these resources, it is very, very important that you properly cite them. You properly acknowledge them. Properly thank the people whose resources you have used. Okay. For that, a lot of online reference management softwares are available. One is EasyBib, then Cite This For Me, then bibme.org, citationmachine.net, citefast.com, zbib.org. See, all these are online citation generators. You can go to these sites, you can search for the materials, you can get a citation in any number of style manuals, whether you want an APA or MLA or Chicago or any number of styles, you can easily get the reference for all kinds of materials. Fine. And the list is endless, but I think we have to complete the session. So before I conclude, I would like to tell you only one thing. Sometimes our researchers or faculty members have got a doubt. Sir, whether I should publish the papers only in subscribed journals or I can publish in open access journals also, sir. If I am publishing it in open access journals, will I get more visibility or will I get more citations, sir? So in this regard, I would like to quote 3 research papers which were published in 2018, 2019, 2020. So this particular article was published in 2018. Second one was published in 2019 and third one was published in 2020. All these research papers, what they found is that when you are publishing your papers in open access journals, you get more citations, your articles are more downloaded, your articles are more shared. So let us not worry about the quality of open access journals. If you are publishing yourself, your research papers in open access journals, then also you will be able to get a lot of research visibility for your organization and for yourself. So dear friends, first of all, we should know that these many freely available resources are available, whether OER or directories or journals or ebooks. First of all, you should know that these many resources are available. Once you know that these many resources are available, then you will slowly start making use of all these resources. Once you start making use of all these free resources, then the next step would be you have to share, you have to distribute, you have to share all these freely available resources even with your friends, with your students, with your scholars, so that they would be able to do their academic and research works in much more better manner. So thank you so much for your very, very long, patient listening. Thank you so much. Here I conclude my presentation and over to the organizers.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir.
Sorry, mic is off. Okay. Sandoz, ask the
Sir.
question.
Dear participants, you have any questions, send through chat. You can ask through chat.
Okay. I think I could see some few questions. I'll see. In case I fail to catch up any question, feel free to ask for questions.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir.
Do libraries need to develop policies about access to digital information services? See, individual libraries, we need not develop our own policies. Maybe our policy makers at the state government level, or maybe at the central government level, they may prepare the policies. Fine. Because we cannot design the access policies for our own library individually. Okay, that's one question. Let me look for other questions. Maybe I'll just go a little back. Participants, you can kindly place your queries over here. As technology advances, will libraries get smaller in terms of physical space? Of course, obviously, because when most of the resources are going to be available in a digital mode, in the online mode, we may not be able to have more space because we may not have much physical resources. In a 40 to 30 room, you have 10 systems, provide all the online resources. So obviously in the days to come, the physical size of the library is going to be little less. You're right, my dear brother. There's another question. Do these websites available in form of mobile apps? If yes, please tell which one. See, as far as I am concerned, only one NDLI, National Digital Library of India, only they provide a mobile version of their library. All the 4.8 crores of documents of NDLI can be accessed through NDLI mobile app, which is available in Apple and the Google Play Store. Other open access publishers, they have not developed and made available these kinds of mobile apps. Okay, fine. Okay, let me look for some more questions. Participants, please, you can pour your questions. Let me look for, please do share the PPT, sir. Manju is asking, absolutely no problem. I will send my PPT to the organizers. Maybe organizers will send all the resource persons PPT to all the participants. Fine. I don't have any problem in sharing my PPT with all. What is the difference between digital library and a repository? See, digital library means you pay money or you collect the freely available resources, or the existing physical resources can be digitized and that can be added. You can form a digital library. When you talk about institutional repository, IR will have only those research contributions, only those activities, only those programs, only those videos, only those audios which are developed, which are created by your own institution, your faculty members, your research scholars. Only their intellectual content will be available in IR. But digital library can be anything. You can have a digital library of musical items, digital library of historical things. You can digitize and you make a digital library. Fine. That is a good question. Fine. Then, sir, I would like to know to search any journal or article, NList. Is it necessary that our institution should be registered for that? Without that, we cannot access that. Lalita Pandey is asking, Madam, absolutely you are right. NList is a commercial package. It is being provided by Ministry of HRD. Those colleges which have 12B 2F status, you have to pay 5,900 rupees every year. Those who are not having 12B or 2F status, you have to pay around 35,000 rupees every year. If you are paying this money and your college will get a username and password, each and every registered participant will get username and password from InflipNet. With that username and password, you will be able to access 6,100 full text journal articles and 31 lakhs ebooks can be accessed. You may ask your institution to subscribe to this. Without subscription, you may not be able to access endless resources. Thank you for even that question. I look for some more questions. Fine. Even if participants are asking or posting some queries in YouTube live session, even those queries also can be read over here. How can I get the list of journals in UGC care list? It's very simple, madam. Go to Google and type UGC care list. You'll get a website. which is being maintained by Savitri Phule University. You have to create a username and password for you. It's very simple, in a minute work. Once you activate your account, you can enter into UGC Catalyst website. There they provide you two things. One is list of journals of Web of Science, list of journals of Scopus, and list of journals prepared by Savitri Phule University in consultation and on the recommendation of all other universities. You can go and have a view of all the journals, either subject wise or title wise. You can go and search, absolutely no problem. And you know very well that all the Web of Science journals are UGC Catalyst journals. All the Scopus journals are UGC Catalyst journals. So you can go to Master Journal List, MJL. MJL is a website where you can go and search for all the journals which are indexed in Web of Science free. You can go and search. Otherwise, go to Scopus Preview. There you can, it's free. Scopus Preview is free. You can go and search for the journals which are available. Fine, good. Then
thank you, sir.
Sir, is any regional history of India search engine available? So I'm sorry, I didn't get any specific search engine for history alone. So whatever I had shown all these time, there are search engines which provide you all kinds of literatures, including a portion on history. Maybe I would request this particular forum where thousands of historians, academicians, researchers are participating. Why don't you all come together and form a preprints, a kind of a repository where all these history academicians, history researchers, you can deposit your preprints and you can make this available to the entire world. So that kind of initiative can be taken by either Indian Council of Historical Research or South Indian Congress, or even you can apply for a project like this for creating a repository of history publication. You can think of it. But as far as my knowledge goes, there is no separate search engine for history related aspects. Fine. Smith is asking, even after applying filters, there are so many resources available online for a particular research topic. How can we shortlist them? See, the best possible way is you have to look for the sources that have a lot of research works on your particular subject. If you go to search engines like Google, obviously lakhs and lakhs of documents will be available even after you have done a lot of filtering work. But if you go to sites like Paperity, if you go to sites like preprints, if you go to sites like Open Access Button, they have only academic papers. You just go to base, just go to core, they have only academic papers. If you go on to use your filters over there, I'm sure definitely you'll be able to shortlist the required materials in a short span of time. That is my feeling, madam. That is good. Please mention history journals identification. Madam, whatever I discussed so far, all those resources will help you to find out history journals and the history books and the history related things. Okay. If you want more particular, please go to DOJ, Directory of Open Access Journals. There, go and search for history. All the journals related to history will be displayed. Find that you can make use of all the resources, whatever we have discussed so far. Fine. That is the answer. Is there any other question? I'll allow to answer the participants. I think a question only in UGC list. I don't understand question. In UGC list, only that is given. I don't know what the participant wants to get from me. I don't understand. Is there any other question from the participants? Or if there is any question from YouTube live participants, you can read those questions. I will answer them here.
Sir, due to network technical issues, sir.
Okay.
The YouTube live will not send, sir.
Okay, okay.
So
only Zoom you are doing. Okay,
yes,
okay.
yes. Later
Okay.
I will.
So I didn't know that. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Okay, sir.
So I think in case no question is raised from the participants, then I should take this opportunity to thank Abbas sir, Jaykumari madam, Murugeshwari madam, Benzila madam, and all the organizing committee members for having given me this wonderful opportunity of meeting you all online and sharing some of the concepts and ideas what I have with regard to open access resources. The question comes here, Sumit Jaiswal. How can we upload our research articles on the platform in order to get more recognition? Madam, there are a few things. Please remember, before you are going to upload your research paper, you please understand the research paper, what you published already is not your paper. It is a paper which belongs to that particular publisher. It is no more your paper. Okay. You might have already signed all the copyright form. Now the journal article is not yours, it is theirs. Okay. What you can do is that you can deposit your preprints. So before the accepted version, journal accepted version, that preprints can be deposited either in your institutional repository or, as I told you, academia.edu or ResearchGate. You can go and deposit your papers in those kinds of research platforms, or you can create a blog. You can create a website for you, for yourself. You can deposit all your articles, and these articles will be automatically indexed if you're having an account in Google Scholar. These are a few ways where you can go and upload your papers online so that people will be able to have more visibility for your research work. So that is the answer. Then, does all related to history written by foreign authors are available in InflipNet? See, Anamika Shinha is asking, see, when you say InflipNet, it is a big ocean, okay? Because InflipNet has got many different components. Now they have got something called eShod Sindhu. eShod Sindhu has got 3 components. One component is meant for universities, one component is meant for arts and science colleges, and one component is meant for technical institutes. If you talk about eShod Sindhu, which is meant for universities, you will get more quantity of materials on all subjects. The number of papers, number of journals, number of resources are more in the first component. If you come to Enlist, a slightly lesser one, they provide you less number of journals, less number of databases for arts and science colleges. If you come there, you'll be able to get comparatively less number of documents. But you can try in both the ways. You'll get a lot of foreign author books. Absolutely no problem.
Thank you, sir.
Sir, one more one, please. What is the difference between Shodh Ganga and eShod Sindhu? The one question. I'll have to answer. That will be the final question, sir. The last question. See, Shodh Ganga, Shodh Sindhu. Shodh Ganga is a reservoir of Indian thesis. All the 428 universities which signed MOU with the government of India. Whatever PhDs are produced in those 400 plus institutes, universities, all those PhDs, around 2 lakhs and 72 lakhs theses are available in Shodh Ganga. Shodh Ganga is a place where you can go and download Indian thesis full text. Fine. But eShod Ganga, eShod Sindhu is a consortium which is developed by government of India. This eShod Sindhu is a consortium which has got 3 components. In all the 3 components, they provide e-journals and e-books to different kind of institutions at a subsidized rate. So government of India talks to all the publishers, they bargain and they give access to all educational institutions in India. So eShod Sindhu is a kind of a consortium of e-resources meant for higher education institutions. Fine. I'm sorry, one more question. Can I publish my PhD thesis in book form? Which style should I adopt for that, APA or MLA? Madam, please understand, Lalita Madam, please understand, once you publish a research thesis, thesis is the property of a university. University is having the copyright over the book, not you. If at all you want to publish your own thesis as a book, you have to write a letter to the registrar or the vice chancellor of your university. You have to get the permission from them. They will give NOC. Absolutely, they'll give NOC. Only thing is they will ask you for a few copies, maybe some 10, 20 copies you have to give to the university. Once you get permission from the university, then you can publish your research thesis as a book, no problem. Which kind of style, it depends on you, madam. You can follow any style, either AP or MLA. It all depends on either publisher or your university. That you can decide. I think that's the last question. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. Hello? Hello?
Ah,
Hello?
continue, sir. Continue, sir.
Continue. on behalf of the Department of History, M.V. Muthaya Government Arts College for Women, Tindukal in Tamil Nadu. I express my heartfelt thanks to the resource persons, Dr. Ramasamy, in our college librarian, and I would like to thank all the respected participants who have blessed us with their presence. I also thank the organizing team, Murugeshwari, Dr. Murugeshwari, Dr. Jayakumari, and our other colleagues and our college office bearers. And I also like to thank our technical team, Santosh Kumar and Rajalingams. Without you, this online program would not have been possible. Thank you all.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.
சார் இது இப்ப யூடியூப் லைவ்ல போலனா கூட இது ரெக்கார்டிங் இருக்குமா சார்? இந்த ரெக்கார்டிங் கூட நீங்க யூடியூப்ல
இது இப்ப அடுத்த அதை அப்படியே பண்ணிடுவோம் சார்.
எஸ் சார், எஸ் சார்.
எப்பயும் லைவ்ல போடுவோம். இந்த 2 நாளா எங்களுக்கு வந்து என்ன ஆகுதுன்னு பாத்தீங்கன்னா யூடியூப் வந்து எங்களுக்கு கிடைக்க மாட்டேங்குது.
இந்த ரெக்கார்ட் பண்ணிருக்கீங்க, இந்த ரெக்கார்டிங் நீங்க யூடியூப்ல போடுங்க, அவ்வளவுதான். நோ ப்ராப்ளம்.
அப்படியே போடுறோம் சார். அப்படியே போடுறோம்.
Thank you sir, thank you so much.
Thank you sir.
ரொம்ப wonderful lecture.
Thank you sir. சார் நான் உங்களுக்கு பிபிடி அனுப்பி வைக்கிறேன். நான் சப்போஸ்
அப்படியே ரெக்கார்ட் ஆயிருக்குல சார், யூடியூப்ல அப்படியே அவங்க பாத்துக்கறட்டும்.